Buongiorno and welcome back to the second episode of Let's Empty the Fridge from any perishable food before we go to Sicily. Yesterday, with the aim of using up some of the vegetables, I made a broccoli mash and also I made some cauliflower with balsamic vinegar and onions. Both recipes are in one video, as I said, and they are up here if you would like to have a look. This is the remainder of my vegetables, and today I've got an idea. I will be making something which looks a little bit like a pizza, and I will be using a little bit of flour, but it isn't a pizza really, but for the sake of this video I will refer to it as a pizza because it looks like a pizza. And I will be using a courgette or zucchini, a couple of peppers, a yellow one and a green one, but you can use any color you like. In my fridge I've got 4 little leeks, so I will be using them. If I didn't have leeks I would have used onions, most probably a red one and a white one, but entirely up to you if you want to use one color. A large carrot, and these are chestnut mushrooms, which I will also be using in the aim of using things up. And a large clove of garlic. I've got other ingredients, and I will also be using some sausages and some bacon. I'll be making mine for meat eaters, but you can keep it vegetarian just by dropping both sausages and bacon. So let's make a start. I washed and dried all of my vegetables, and I'll make a start by grating the zucchini first. And I'm using a normal standard cheese grater, large side teeth, and this takes about 1 minute. And I'm nearly done, and to ensure that I do not actually end up grating my fingers, I always hold the zucchini from over here, which is the part of the zucchini attached to the plant. And as you can see, I actually managed to retrieve most of it. I started with the zucchini first because I will want to drain some of its water. So I've got a pasta drainer here, and I'll put all of my grated zucchini inside. And I'll place a bowl underneath to ensure that the water goes inside it. And while I am in vegetable grating mode, I'm now doing exactly the same with the carrot. Also, I left the skin on as it is really good for you, full of fiber, but always be careful, mind your fingers. And I'm now moving on to the preparation of the other vegetables. So leeks, I will remove a little bit of this green part on top, not a lot because actually it's quite good. And I'll turn them around, and I'll remove this part here, which obviously is the root, and I don't want it. And to make the dish look a little bit more elegant, I'll chop them in round circles of approximately 1 centimeter. If I was using an onion, I would cut also fairly large pieces. I'm now applying a little olive oil in a frying pan. Move the pan, and if the oil moves freely like this, it's hot enough. And I'll add my leeks. And I will leave them to sizzle on their own for a couple of minutes before I add the carrots. Now that the leeks or onion, if you're using the onions, have had time to sizzle on their own for a couple of minutes, I can add my chopped or grated carrots, I should say, and I'll mix it in together. Back on my chopping board, and I'm now slicing the very large clove of garlic in approximately 1 millimeter pieces. And I'm now going back with my knife and I'll chop it further in little pieces. Just like this. So I'll pick it up, and it can go in with the leeks and the carrots. And I will mix everything together once again, and I will leave everything to now gently fry for about 3 minutes, which is the perfect time to get my peppers ready. And I'm now cleaning them, and I'm going in with a normal steak knife, and I'm removing any white bits, but also any seeds. Ironically, these haven't got any, so it's just the white bits. And I'm now slicing them in 1 centimeter strip. Little tip, whenever you're working with peppers, do not cut them from over here, because this is slippery and you could actually hurt yourself. This is rougher, much easier to slice them from this end. And they can be added to the rest of the vegetables, followed by a pinch of salt, some pepper, as always quantities to taste. And these are mixed Italian herbs. You can use anything you like, oregano or parsley, but this is just a mixture of a bit of everything. Temperature is on medium-low right now, so I'll give everything a good mix, and I'll place the lid on, and I'll leave them to gently cook now for about 10 minutes. The lid will ensure that they cook properly. I just moved into my mushrooms, and I've sliced them in approximately 1/2 centimeter pieces, something like this. I will cook my mushrooms separately as I want to extract more flavor, so I'll start again. Olive oil over a frying pan, and the mushrooms go in. Temperature is quite high, and I'll leave them to cook and sizzle for a good 4 to 5 minutes until they are properly cooked. Back to my zucchini, and a lot of the water has actually filtered through. I'll show you here. So there it is. So I'll now pick it up with my hand, and I'll give it one more squeeze. Look how much liquid is coming out. And squeeze as much as you can so that you remove as much water as possible, and start moving it into a separate bowl. Zucchini have got a very high water content, as you can see. It's remarkable how much water comes out, and in this particular recipe we do not want much liquid, so important this step. But equally well, don't give yourself an hernia. There you go. And look how much water has come out. Amazing. So the vegetables are cooked, and I'll show you what they look like. Absolutely wonderful. And I'm now transferring everything inside a new large glass bowl, followed by my grated and drained zucchini. And I'll mix everything together once again, and I will go back to the mushrooms next. And they look beautiful and they're cooked, and if you were to add salt and pepper to them now, you can eat them as a side dish. I've just turned them off, by the way, and I will be adding a little parsley next. And I'll mix it all in so that it combines with the mushrooms, and you can see why I wanted to cook them separately, and I can now add them to the rest of my mix. And I'll mix everything together once again, and if you are doing a vegetarian version of this dish, your mix is pretty much ready, but I will be adding some sausages and bacon in a moment, and I'll show you what I'll do next. I will be using 3 slices of smoked bacon which I've just sliced, and also a couple of sausages which I'll chop in about 1 centimeter circles. I will be using the same pan I used for the vegetables, no need to mess anything else up as we'll all end up in the same place. And I'm not adding any oil because the sausages and the bacon are quite high in fat anyway, so there's no need. And also the pan is already oiled up from earlier anyhow. My temperature is medium high, and I'll cook this just as normal as if you were doing sausages and bacon for breakfast until the bacon becomes lovely and crispy and everything will have a beautiful golden color. I'm making a batter mix next so that I can bond all of my ingredients together, and I'll start by breaking in 3 eggs inside a glass bowl, and I'll give them a quick mix with my fork, about 10 seconds, until all of the eggs are combined together. I'm now grating some Italian cheese, Parmesan to be precise, and I will be using about a couple of dessert spoons. Next I will add 250 milliliters of semi-skimmed milk, followed by 200 grams of plain flour and a heaped teaspoon of baking powder. And I'll mix everything together, but I got the wrong tool here. I need a whisk, not a fork. I think I should have used a larger glass mixing bowl so that I could have been a little bit more vigorous with my mixing, but just continue mixing until all of the lumps have disappeared. The bacon and the sausages are ready, and I can add them now to the mix here, and the butter goes in next. And if you got a rubber spatula like this is an excellent time when to use it, as it cleans everything out. And I'll mix everything together now so that the butter combines with all of my vegetables, sausages and bacon. If you're looking for a more authentic Italian flavor, use mozzarella. This is pizza mozzarella, and I'm using 250 grams, and I'm using the same cheese grater as before and the larger tip, and this is what you get. On the other hand, you can also use cheddar if you like, or Gouda or Edam, any cheese you like, but do ensure that it's nice and stringy as far as cheese goes. And we're getting close now, so oven tray and some baking paper to cover it. I'm going to apply a little olive oil, and using a brush I'm spreading it across the entire surface of my baking paper. And time to pour in all of my mix inside it. And hopefully you haven't washed the spatula because you're going to need it again. And I'm now ensuring that my mix is properly spread across the entire surface so that it's leveled up. And back to my mozzarella cheese, and I'll start spreading it on top of all of the mix, ensuring that everything is absolutely covered with it. You might find that actually using your hands is easier in this case, so that you can easily spread it. And I've got some very good news, because this is now ready to go in the oven. Temperature 180 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes until the cheese is lovely and golden and the bake is set. So I'll see you in about 35-40 minutes. Ciao for now. 25 minutes on, exactly as planned, and I've been joined by my very helpful assistant, and here it is. It has been resting now for a good 10 minutes, so it's also safe for me to touch, and it's useful because this will have detached itself slightly from the paper, and it's going to be considerably easier to remove it. So let's see if the theory works now. I'll lift it here, and I'll move it on here. And actually, thinking about it, why do I need to remove it from the paper? I can just slice it in here.
That you can, yes, yes.
And as it has been resting, you can see that it's considerably easier to now cut it through with a knife. And you know, when I mentioned to you earlier that it's not too dissimilar to those pizzas that you might get in a bakery. I'm not sure if I mentioned it. I think I did. And that is what I mean. That is the sort of thickness. Julie, can you just have a look here?
Yeah.
That you get.
What, you mean those spongy pizzas you get in Italy?
Yes, it is.
That your family all like, but I'm a bit old school. I like a traditional pizza.
Julie likes a traditional pizza.
I do. When those ones turn up, they're a bit spongy. There's an awful lot of base. Not my favourite.
Well, you cannot like everything.
No. I still eat it. Let's be clear.
She eats anything. Yeah. So let's see what it's like, and then
I won't eat tripe, everybody. That's my no-no.
Okay. It's still a little bit warm, so I'll blow it. The sausage, I just got a piece of sausage.
Yes.
It's divine, honestly. And the longer you leave it to cool down, the better it will taste. And just try. And if you got different type of ingredients left over in your fridge, it doesn't really matter too much. It's delicious. Delicious, I should say. So that is the end of the Let's Empty the Fridge Before I Go to Sicily mini-series. Hopefully you like what I cook, and if you do, subscribe. You would really help me. YouTube promotes more videos, more of my videos if you subscribe, and also your advantage is that you'll get to see them straight away as YouTube push them to subscribers first. Not that it matters too much, but there's a little advantage there. Thank you for watching, and see you later. Arrivederci and buon appetito. Ciao.